This JJ McCarthy just sold for a whopping $14,000. But what exactly can this card tell us about Prizm, Deca, Autograph versus PSA, and even market trends? Well, quite a bit actually. Come on, let me show you. Hello, this is Chad with Back to the Future podcast, and welcome back to another episode of Football Card Auction Review from Fanatics Collect. On this week's episode, we are going to review last week's Fanatics Football Card Auctions, and we'll take a little sneak peek at the auctions to come while learning a bit more about football cards along the way. I teased this JJ McCarthy, and this actually is where I want to start. So let's go ahead and pull up this past week's auctions. I sorted by highest price first, and no surprise, we see three quarterbacks. And again, we see Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's good to see three established quarterbacks and even the GOAT up there leading the way on highest priced auction cards. After that, we see some familiar cards in form of Kaboom, National Treasures RPA of Lamar Jackson. And then we get down to $14,400 2024 Nini Prizm Deca Black JJ McCarthy PSA 9. This card is autographed, and I want to talk quite a bit about this card. So let's go ahead and dive into a few things of note. Now, Prizm Deca, if you're not familiar with it, is kind of an offshoot of the traditional Prizm. Now, Prizm Deca is celebrating the 2012 Prizm design, which is the first year of Prizm in all sports and football in particular. For the purpose of this discussion. Now, Prizm Deca, I should note, that came out just for this 24 class, is a 300 card set, identical to the 2012 Prizm. However, has some things that aren't quite the same and aligned with 2012 Prizm that I feel that they missed on. There are a number of Prizm parallels in Prizm Deca that we would tend to expect to see with more recent years of Prizm, but I was really hoping that when this came out, that if they were truly reflecting upon the 2012 Prizm, that we would see silver Prizms, red Prizms in the hobby, green Prizms in the retail, if there was a retail version of this, and then our Black Finite, and then even the Pylon one-of-ones as well. But we see a little bit of separation there as compared to the 2012 set. But let's talk about this JJ McCarthy in particular. I want to pull up some sales history, which really I think is going to show us quite a bit and really give us some insight about the current market of football cards. Let me enlarge this just a little bit so you can see what I'm showing you. Now, you can see this exact card sold through Golden Auctions August 14th of this year through auction for $17,200, whereas this card just sold on Fanatics this week for $14,400. So we've already seen quite a dip in that price. Why do you think that is? Well, traditionally with younger players, people tend to buy into hype. And once the season starts, if they're not excelling, we tend to see prices go down as hype decreases. Also, perhaps people were getting excited about Prizm Deca earlier on, and maybe that hype with Deca has faded with time, which might be an indicator that the prices of these Deca cards, as time goes on, may continue to dwindle. I don't know. I'd be curious to get your guys' take on this, but seeing this card sell twice within 6 weeks of each other certainly seems like flipper behavior, and it would tend to fit with a high-profile rookie in a Prizm class. But also of note, we see the Deca Black JJ McCarthy non-autographed, but in a PSA 10. This card sold for $26,700, nearly double what the PSA 9 version of the autograph sold for, showing you that at least in this scenario, this was also a Fanatics auction, that the premier auction of this card, the PSA 10 was valued far more significantly than the autograph version of this. Now that tends to fit with Prizm. With Prizm, the true parallel non-sticker autograph tends to sell for more, and in this case, absolutely no exception, that the PSA 10 grade far outweighs the autograph. What do you think about that? Long-term value for this, would you rather have the autograph or would you rather have the PSA 10? Card is a 101 after all. So some interesting things that we can see just with Deca itself. Now, this card, we're also going to take a look at some sales history. Now, bear with me, this whole thing won't be Prizm, but I think this is interesting. I also wanted to look and take a look at the value of Deca compared to regular Prizm. I had someone after last week's episode reach out to me and ask about what my thoughts were on Deca going forward. And while I'm not here to give you advice on the market, at least I can show you some data through Card Ladder that might be able to help you jump to some conclusions about what you think the market of Deca might be. So what I did was search for 2024 Prizm 1-of-1s for the top rookies, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams. And what I want to highlight, first of all, is going to be Jaden Daniels. So we've got a few different 1-of-1s to highlight here. First of all, just the traditional Panini Prizm Black Finite 1-of-1. That card sold for a whopping $500,000. We also have the Prizm Nebula Choice 1-of-1, which sold for far less, but still a high number at $192,000. We go down further and see that Jaden Daniels Deca Black 1-of-1, still in a PSA 10, sold for only $75,000, far less than the traditional Prizm $500,000. You can see at least what value the hobby and buyers hold on Deca versus traditional Prizm. Now, does that hold up with the other quarterbacks? Well, let's take a look. Next up on the list, we have Caleb Williams, his Black Finite Panini Prizm, $122,000. His Nebula Choice, a step down, just like we saw with Jaden Daniels at $92,000. And as we scroll down further, do we have a Caleb Williams? We've got a Black Shimmer, which sold for only $40,000. I don't know that we see his Deca card 1-of-1 here. I don't see that it is sold, but I would expect that trend that we saw with Jaden Daniels to continue there as well. All right, well, I think that's just about enough of Prizm and Deca. Let's go ahead and jump back to the auction. Now, the next card is literally the next card that I want to highlight. So transitioning away from modern, let's go into some vintage with his 1957 Topps Football Johnny Unitas. Now, this card, I want to get the right screen up here. This was a PSA 8.5. And as you can see from Card Ladder's Pop Report, let me enlarge this because what I want to highlight is the 8.5 grade across all three major grading companies, PSA, BGS, GC. There are only 30 total grades at this grade level or higher in existence for this 1957 card. And I think that makes this card of one of the greatest early quarterbacks to play the game really significant. And we can see why it sold for such a high value. $57,000, the average sale price for a PSA 8.5. And again, we see this remarkable jump of over 4x, just a leap from an 8.5 to a 9. On last week's episode, we talked about, I believe it was the Joe Montana that we saw the notable jump in such a small grade with these vintage cards, far out exceeding what we would expect to see with more modern players. All right, let's jump back into the auction. We see our first wide receiver pop up with the Topps Chrome Super Factor Terrell Owens. Again, we get more quarterback play with the John Elway PSA 10. And again, quarterbacks, which is always seems to be the theme with pricing of football. But look at this. A 1982 Topps Football Lawrence Taylor. Now, I got to admit, not only is it a little bit rare to see a card that's a bit more vintage, but a defensive player? Let's hop into this one a bit more. So this one is a PSA 10 sold for $7,200 with 33 bids. It's a pretty good looking card. Of course, it is rated a PSA 10. Let's go ahead and jump into some market trends with defensive players. I had someone else reach out to me over the course of the past week and ask specifically about a defensive player. Now, of course, I've talked that I've been a Von Miller collector on the defensive side of the ball, but traditionally, if you're not a quarterback, you're not holding a whole lot of value, and defense certainly plays a role in that too. Now, what I would like to get up is the sales history and the market trend. So here we go. So from Card Ladder, let's take a look at the sales trend. This is over the past 2 years, specifically for this 1982 Topps Lawrence Taylor PSA 10. During this time, we see a rate of growth of over 57% just in the last 2 years for this card. So maybe that old notion that defensive players don't necessarily retain value or grow? I mean, we have this outlier here. I think we can throw that one out, but otherwise, you see a fairly consistent trend, and certainly this sale jumping up and far out, exceeding even just a couple weeks before. It'll be interesting to see what this card continues to do in the future. But the Lawrence Taylor with quite the jump and really stood out to me as being an auction of note here this week. As we scroll further, we start to see some Running backs enter the picture with this 96 Select Certified Barry Sanders autograph. We're going to talk a little bit more about running backs here shortly. Get more quarterbacks in the picture and rookie cards, which seems to be fitting. How about this? It's Cameron Ward, tops now, 1 of 1 for $4,900. Hefty price to pay, or is it a great investment going forward? I'll let you be the judge of that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments. See Bradshaw and Elway. Of course, Color Blaster always going to enter the picture here. I feel like those have really fallen just behind the kabooms and the downtowns as the insert to go after in all sports, and football is no exception here. Let's go ahead and jump on over to page 2. We start to see some more wide receivers enter the picture. Did you think you would see Tyreek Hill enter here? I didn't, even though it's his rookie card and gold prism numbered to 10. A little surprised to see him. Number 1, receiver. Number 2, just being Tyreek Hill as he's faded over the past few years of his career. You know, the gold vinyl downtown sure do look good, and this Marcus Allen is no exception. This 1 of 1 Super Bowl downtown, even better if you're a Raiders fan. I don't know how you don't love this card. Selling for $3,800. It's a good looking card. Joe Burrow, NFL Shield, 1 of 1. We talked about this on last week's episode. I can't imagine that this shield is game worn. It's authentic material, and it's not even autograph. Tell you what, it doesn't even have it's not a rookie card for him, or at least doesn't have the rookie card shield. $3,800 for that seems to be quite the price tag. I'm glad someone paid it. Glad it wasn't me. But let's go ahead and continue. And let me ask you this. We've got a 99 EX Essential Credentials Randy Moss, numbered to 41. Would you rather have that card? Or would you rather have this Joe Burrow non-associated shield out of Flawless? Yeah, you can give me that Moss all day. Card of note here that I love the design that I should highlight is the 2024 Prizm Flashback with the older design. I think this is a select design, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on this. This could be a 2013 Prizm, but I want to say that this was a previous year select early football design. I really like it. I love how forward and prominent the player is on the card. I really like that. All right, let's continue. There's one more card that I want to show you. Again, we're seeing more Randy Moss pop up, and I like it. I don't own any Randy Moss. He's someone that I've thought about adding as part to my collection. Just haven't done so yet. Keep going here. Triple autograph, National Treasures. If you're a Cowboys fan, boy, this one would be a big card. They are sticker autographs, but I'm surprised this didn't sell for more with the Cowboy fans that still exist out there. All right, let's go ahead and jump on over to page 3. And while we do that, I do want to take just a second. If you're enjoying the content here, please take a second just to like the video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'm going to try and release these Fanatics Football Card Auction releases every Tuesday morning for you to review and learn football cards with me. Gold vinyl, Jonathan Taylor, boy, he has sure had a great career, and I think that he doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but boy, this sure seems like a cheap price for a gold vinyl, numbered to 5, autograph in a Gem Mint 10. If I was a Colts fan, I'd jump on that one. All right, well, let's continue here. We got a prime Barry Sanders game used patch 101 autograph for $1,400. I know it's out of limited, which is not thought to be a high-end product, but boy, oh boy, that sure is a nice card. Got a dual autograph here. And there's one more that I want to see if we can get to. Precious metal gems. We're seeing another one. We saw, I think, a Randy White last week, and this time we see the bus, Jerome Bettis. Boy, he was sure fun to watch. Run over opposing defenses. All right. Here we go. So the last one that I want to highlight here is a 2015 Top Supreme dual autograph Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders. This is a great looking card. Both autographs are sticker, but these are two of arguably the best running backs to ever play football. I was very curious about how many dual autographs of these two players in particular exist. I asked ChatGTP, and it couldn't give me an exact answer, but predicted that the number of sets that they had at least a number of autographs in was 7 or fewer, 7 or less, this being one of them. Now, what if you took 2 of the best big men in basketball, right? Because running backs aren't comparable to quarterbacks, which sell for the most. So say you take 2 of the best power forwards to ever play the game. Say you take Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. Say you take Tim Duncan, Karl Malone. And you put them dual autograph on a card that those 2 are in a product that is less than 7 or 10 products in existence. Do you think that card's only selling for $1,000? I don't have evidence to back that up, but to me, it sure seems like this is a great price for two of the greatest ever play. And it's a beautiful card. I think the fact that they both wear blue and white and silver or gray, makes it feel less like such a dichotomy on a card. I really like this. And that's the card, at least for the sold auction, that I want to end on there. So, all right, let's go ahead and pull up real quick. Let's scan ahead to next week's auction and take a look. Let's go by highest price. And boy, oh boy, leading the gate, this one's going to be fun to watch. So coming up on next week, I want to know your thoughts on what you think this card will go for. It's the 2012 Prizm Finite Demarcus Ware 1/1. That is a big card. Of course, the Jay Cutler recently sold to the host of the Football Card podcast over on Stacking Slabs, and that card went for 5 figures. Boy, and they even wrote articles about that card. This is Demarcus Ware. This isn't Jay Cutler. I know he's not a quarterback, but Broncos fans would love this, and certainly Cowboys fans would love this card. This is a card I want to highlight for next week's auction. I want to know what you think the price is going to go for, so leave a comment in the section below. Let me know your thoughts. All right, that's going to do it. So this is episode 2. Again, I want to know your thoughts on the format of this show. What did you learn? What didn't you like? What can we improve on for the future? Again, if you're enjoying the content here, please like, subscribe. I'll see you next week. Take care.